Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Recha Kudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And we're going to be continuing in the book of 2 Chronicles, the 28th chapter. And so in here, we see the reign of Ahaz, who basically takes a drastic U-turn from the direction that Uzziah and Jotham, his son, had gone in. Now Ahaz, being the son of Jotham, right, who was a righteous king, right, according to what we read in 2 Chronicles, the 27th chapter. So we see the things that Ahaz does here, right, as we're about to read, which angers the Lord. And in return, he starts to bring judgment upon both Ahaz and Judah. So this is the book of 2 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 1. Ahaz was 20 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, but he did not that which was right in the sight of the Lord Yahweh, like David his father. Now we know obviously David wasn't the direct father of Ahaz, but he was his forefather. And when you go into the Hebrew, the word there is Abba, which can translate as father directly, forefather, so on, grandfather. For he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, and made also molten images for Baalim. And those molten images are idols. Something that's molten is like, imagine silver or gold or some metal that's been melted so that it can be molded into an image, which is a figure. Okay, so here he made idols of Baalim, and when you go into Baalim, right, it's plural. Okay, that lim is let's see here, right? It's Baal is the root word, which is Baal. Right, but that's singular. I think this is Baal Yum. So here Baal meaning Lord. Okay, but it was a deity. Okay, of these heathens. So when you see here, you have Baal, but in the Hebrew you have La Baal Yum. Right, so La being 2 or 4, and these molten images that he made were 2 or 4 Baal Yum, which are the gods of the heathens. Okay, so that yum at the end makes it plural over there. Verse 3, moreover, he burned incense in the valley of the son of Hinnom, and burnt his children in the fire, after the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord Yahweh had cast out before the children of Israel. Now, this valley of Hinnom is a point of interest, right? So if we look up here, valley of Hinnom, and it has been also a point of misunderstandings. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of this and then actually look at the wiki. But it says here, the Valley of Hinnom, or Ge Hinnom, in Hebrew, is a valley located southwest of Jerusalem. This is an actual physical location. It's a valley, a lowland, that became associated with hell. All right, it became associated with hell, the concept of hell, due to its historical use for pagan sacrifices, including child sacrifice, and later as a garbage dump, where they would actually burn. They used to burn children, right? But they would also burn garbage over there. So here, as you can see, symbol of hell, the valley's association with these practices and its later use as a garbage dump led to its symbolic representation of hell, or Gehenna, in Jewish and Christian eschatology. All right. And if you've been watching or learning, you'll know that hell is not a real place that you go and burn forever. Okay. The concept of hell, it goes back to this concept of hell being a place where you burn forever, goes back to Gehenna, or the Valley of Hinnom. So it says here, Hinnom, Valley of Hinnom, is a biblical toponym that has acquired various theological connotations. Now let's look up here some synonyms for this toponym. It says here a place name, especially one derived from a topological feature, hence Valley of Hinnom. And so it's a lowland, it's a valley. And so one would say that's where it gets its name from. Anyway, including a place of divine punishment in Jewish eschatology. Okay. And eschatology being, like the study of the end days, right? As it says here. The place is first mentioned in the Hebrew Bible as part of the border between the tribes of Judah and Benjamin. During the late First Temple period, it was the site of the Tophet. The late First Temple period, meaning the first temple that was built by King Solomon, getting to the end of that time when the Babylonians would come and destroy that temple and take Judah captive. That's around that time period. And that's also when we see Jeremiah on the scene and so on. It says here, it was the site of Tophet where some of the kings of Judah had sacrificed their children by fire. Thereafter, it was cursed by the biblical prophet Jeremiah. In later rabbinic literature, Gehinnom became associated with divine punishment as the destination of the wicked for the atonement of their sins. Okay? It became associated with that. But that concept of some destination you go and burn forever doesn't exist. Okay, it's not real. It says here, the term is different from the more neutral term Sheol, which in the Hebrew is Sha'awal, the abode of the dead, which is the grave. Okay. So there are two different terms here. However, the King James Version of the Bible translates both of those, right, which is the valley of Hinnom or Gehinnom, which was associated with, later came to be associated with a place of divine punishment, and also the word Sheol or Sha'awal, which is the grave. Both of those were translated with the Anglo-Saxon word hell. So when you read hell in the Bible, it can either be talking about the grave here, or as you can see here, they've associated that term. So it might go back to Gehenna. Okay, but it's not, the word hell doesn't mean what at least modern society has come to believe it to mean. So that was a bit of information about Hinnom, right? And Hinnom was the name of I believe a heathen, right, who was around that area. That's why it says it was the valley of the son of Hinnom, because they used to dwell there or own that place, you could say. Anyway, back to 2 Chronicles. So this guy Ahaz is partaking in these abominable acts. He's sacrificing his children and so on. It says here, and burned his children in the fire after the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord Yahweh had cast out before the children of Israel. He sacrificed also and burnt incense in the high places, and on the hills, and under every green tree. Wherefore the Lord Yahweh his God delivered him into the hand of the king of Syria, and they smote him, and carried away a great multitude of them captives, and brought them to Damascus. And he was also delivered into the hand of the king of Israel, who smote him with a great slaughter. So he was basically getting attacked by the Syrians. He was getting attacked by Israel. Remember this civil war that was going on, and he was taking L's. For Pekah, the son of Remaliah, slew in Judah 120,000 in one day, which were all valiant men, because they had forsaken the Lord Yahweh, God of their fathers. So yes, the northern kingdom, they were going off. But when the southern kingdom started going off, the Lord used the northern kingdom to judge them. All right. And Zikri, a mighty man of Ephraim, slew Maaseiah, the king's son, and Azrikam, the governor of the house, and Elkanah, that was next to the king. And the children of Israel carried away captive of their brethren 200,000, women, sons, and daughters, and took also away much spoil from them, and brought the spoil to Samaria. So the northern kingdom, basically, after warring with the southern kingdom, ends up defeating them and taking them captive, a good portion of them captive, back to Samaria. But on their way, or as they get there, right, but a prophet of the Lord Yahweh was there, whose name was Oded. And he went out before the host that came to Samaria, and said unto them, Behold, because the Lord Yahweh God of your fathers was wroth with Judah, he hath delivered them into your hand. And ye have slain them in a rage that reacheth up unto heaven. Meaning this slaying you've done, it's gone up to the Lord. And now ye purpose to keep under the children of Judah and Jerusalem for bondmen and bondwomen unto you. But are there not with you, even with you, sins against the Lord Yahweh your God? So Judah was going off. That's why the Lord had you defeat them. But not only did you slay them, you've now taken them captive and you're about to make them your slaves. But haven't you sinned against the Lord? Don't you have iniquities that are tabbed up with the Lord? Now hear me therefore, and deliver the captives again, which ye have taken captive of your brethren, for the fierce wrath of the Lord Yahweh is upon you. So the prophet Oded was basically telling them, look, let them go, right? They're still Israelites. Let them go, because you're not any better. All right. And right now the Lord is already pissed off at you. So don't even add more onto that. And then certain of the heads of the children of Ephraim, Azariah, the son of Johanan, and Berechiah, the son of Meshilemoth, and Jehizkiah, the son of Shallum, and Amasa, the son of Hadlai, stood up against them that came from the war. So these men, which were chiefs or elders, they basically said, you know what? What he's saying is right concerning the prophet. And said unto them, Ye shall not bring in the captives thither or hither. For whereas we have offended against the Lord already, ye intend to add more to our sins and to our trespass. For our trespass is great, and there is fierce wrath against Israel. So we already got the Lord is already mad. Like, look at what's going on. We already got transgressions and trespasses that we got to deal with, that the Lord is already mad about. We're not about to add this to the tab. So the armed men left the captives and the spoil before the princes and all the congregation. And the men which were expressed by name rose up and took the captives, and with the spoil clothed all that were naked among them, and arrayed them, and shod them. So the chief, the heads that stood up and took heed to the prophet's words, took of the spoil, right, the goodies that were brought, and they put clothes back on the captives, right? They shod them, meaning when you shod, you give them something to wear on their feet, and gave them to eat and to drink, and anointed them, and carried all the feeble of them upon asses, so the kids, the wounded, the elderly, and brought them to Jericho, the city of palm trees, to their brethren. Then they returned to Samaria. At that time did King Ahaz send unto the kings of Assyria to help him. For again the Edomites had come and smitten Judah and carried away captives. The Philistines also had invaded the cities of the low country and of the south of Judah, and had taken Beth-shemesh and Ajalon, and Gederoth, and Shoko with the villages thereof, and Timnah with the villages thereof, Gimzo also and the villages thereof, and they dwelt there. For the Lord Yahweh brought Judah low, because of Ahaz king of Israel, for he made Judah naked, and transgressed sore against the Lord. Now, in making Judah naked, this does not mean that Ahaz went and gave a commandment. Every person in Judah got to strip naked. No. All right. In making Judah naked, it means he caused them to transgress. He basically stripped the way of righteousness from Judah, right? And this was set up and instilled going back, at least, right, in this point from Uzziah and then Jotham, who continued it. But when Ahaz came into power, he basically, as we're about to read the things he did, he set up these idols. He's sacrificing, and he's causing Judah to go off. And as we know, righteousness is likened onto a garment or clothes upon you. And so by causing them to go off, it's likened unto him taking those clothes off of them and leaving them naked, by stripping away that righteousness by way of introducing or influencing them to continue in the way of wickedness and idol worship. So that is what is meant by him making Judah naked, not in a literal sense. And transgress sore against the Lord. And Tiglath-Pileser, which in the secular history is known as Tiglath-Pileser or Pileser, king of Assyria, came unto him and distressed him, but strengthened him not. So when he called for help, the Assyrians came, but they didn't give him the help he was looking for. For Ahaz took away a portion out of the house of the Lord Yahweh, and out of the house of the king, and of the princes, and gave it unto the king of Assyria, but he helped him not. And the portion being like gold or silver or some form of tribute. And still, the Assyrian king did not help him. And in the time of his distress did he trespass yet more against the Lord, that is, King Ahaz. And he sacrificed unto the gods of Damascus, which smote him. And he said, because the gods of the kings of Syria helped them, therefore will I sacrifice to them, that they may help me. But they were the ruin of him and of all Israel. So his dumb ass was like, oh, I got my ass beat by them, so it must be their gods. Their gods must be so good. If I can serve them, maybe they'll help me. And that was the thought process here of this guy. Now, I want to take a look here. I know that sometimes there are some clerical errors with the word Syria or Syrian and Edom. You have Aram and Adam or Adawam. So I just want to make sure that we have this right. Okay, this is the Syrians here. And I believe when we read in the book of Kings, I believe he went to meet the king of Assyria in Damascus. And then while he was there, he ended up seeing a design for the altar, for which he sent blueprints back to say, hey, build this this altar here. And I believe he ended up removing the real altar of the Lord and replacing as the primary altar of incense this pagan one that he had set up. I want to do a cross reference here and see what we can find. Yeah, here we go. This was 2 Kings, the 16th chapter, dealing with Ahaz, right? And when the king was come from Damascus, the king saw the altar, which was the pagan altar that he had sent for, he saw the design at Damascus. He sent for I believe it was a priest or so, to build one very similar in Jerusalem. And so when he came back, he saw it, and the king approached to the altar and offered thereon. And he burnt his burnt offering and his meat offering, and poured his drink offering, and sprinkled the blood of his peace offerings upon the altar. So he was really going off, right? Hardcore. So going back to 2 Chronicles, he's thinking, well, if I can also serve the king of the Syrians, the gods of the Syrians, maybe then I can finally start to do good. I can have favor. And Ahaz gathered together the vessels of the house of God, and cut in pieces the vessels of the house of God, and shut up the doors of the house of the Lord, being the temple. And he made him altars in every corner of Jerusalem. So not only was he, and this is why it says he made Judah naked, because not only was he promoting idolatry and the worship of these other gods, he was also basically prohibiting people from going to the temple to worship by shutting those doors and building altars in every corner of Jerusalem to worship and serve these false deities here, or these false gods. And in every several city of Judah he made high places to burn incense unto other gods, and provoked to anger the Lord Yahweh, God of his fathers. Now the rest of his acts, and of all his ways, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. And Ahaz slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city, even in Jerusalem. But they brought him not into the sepulchres of the kings of Israel, and Hezekiah his son reigned in his stead. And here the kings of Israel is still referring to Judah. When it says Israel here, it's not Israel as in the divided kingdom, Israel, northern kingdom, and then Judah, southern kingdom, but more so kings of Israel as a whole, collectively. And so here it's specifying Judah, right? Because Ahaz was the king of Judah, not of the northern kingdom. So in any case, this brings us to the end of the book of 2nd Chronicles, the 28th chapter. As you can see, this drastic U-turn Ahaz takes in leading Judah astray and receiving judgment from the Heavenly Father. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha, Kudash. Until next time, Shalom.